We're going to stay here all night if we have to, so let's get started.
It's time, America, for the #1 conservative common sense podcast that's calling out all the social justice, political correctness crap and putting it on the run.
Do you think you can handle it?
So hop in and buckle up and get ready to ride with two straight-shooting, tell it like it is, ex-street cops.
And they know how to party with few inhibitions.
As they give the special interest and weak-kneed politicians a swift kick in the ass.
Wow, is that legal?
With some good old-fashioned common sense.
Bring it on, baby.
It's Cop Talk USA with your hosts, Murillo and French.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Cop Talk 2022. We're new. It's all new. It's all brand new. New faces, new themes, new everything. And, of course, same old Dave. Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Happy New Year, Roger. How are you?
I'm back. I'm all charged up. What do we do? We were going to take like 2 weeks off, and we were taking 4.
Oh, but, yeah. Everybody.
The COVID got me.
The COVID got you, and it's creeping around where some of my family members are, and I've been kind of keeping low key. So far, so good. I'm double vaccinated and the booster, so hopefully I'm good. I got the vaccination. So I had those, and then I decided to go get the booster. I got the booster, and I think I had it at that time. And fatigued as hell. I've had worse flu than I had with COVID. Yeah. And so I had it, I self-quarantined for about a week, and, we're back, we're new, but, so our audience will know we're doing some things different, at least for a while. We are each broadcasting from our own homes. Zoom meeting.
Yeah. And we're doing that. We think, and we're going to try this out. And it also allows some of our guests to come on. So, just kind of I don't know if it's precautionary. I don't know if it's going to make our show better. I think the sound's going to sound just as good. And people are excited to get us back on the air, and I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to a robust 2022 with my pal Roger Dodger. Oh, and we got a load to talk about. Everybody knows. I mean, you got the gift that keeps on giving for the Republicans and for us. That dimwit out in the White House.
Yeah, I heard him label him with another very nasty term today, Roger. I was watching TV. They call him impotent. Now that's as bad or worse than incompetent. Impotent. That means he's got no performance. He can't do nothing.
Well, the problem is, if it wasn't so funny, but it's a dangerous situation because it just signals to these people like Putin and the Chinese and everybody else, we got a guy who doesn't have the brains or the balls to do it. Problem is, you got a guy that's dumb. He's going to do dumb things. I'm scared to death this clown's going to get us in a hot war over Ukraine. You want to send your kids out to go fight for Ukraine?
No, my boys aren't going to fight for the blunders of this dipshit in the Oval Office right now. They're just not going to do that. And I've got 3 draft age boys, but he's incompetent. It's not funny anymore to me. It used to be kind of fun to poke at him because of all the poking the Democrats did on Trump for 4 years. But this guy's dangerous, and he's taken this country down the wrong path. And if you don't believe that, there's only one thing I can tell you. Your allegiance to your Democratic Party means more than your allegiance to your country.
Well, the guy screwed our economy up. I was at the grocery store last night. I had to run and go get something, and it was about 7:30 o'clock. So I went. I was going to go to Hy-Vee, but there was an Aldi's over, and I pulled in. It looked like a third world grocery store. They were out of everything. The gal told me she hadn't had chicken there in a month and a half, packaged chicken. And, I think it's more supply shortage, the chain, but he's got this thing so screwed up. And again, that's one thing. But when you talk about world affairs and potential wars, this guy, he's got that ability just to screw it. I mean,
well, you can tell
I'm concerned.
You can tell, and everybody ought to be where his priorities are right now. He kind of showed them the other day when he wants, with all the problems, you just alluded to some of them, with all the problems facing this yo-yo, he wants to talk about voting rights.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever been stopped from voting. Get your ass in your car and drive to your voting place and vote. This is a fabricated problem because as they are falling apart on the issues from the southern border to inflation to you name it, the only way these yo-yo radical progressive left-wing Dems can stay in office is to coerce and pollute the voting system in this country. That's the only way they're going to be able to retain power. They're going to get their asses kicked coming up here in the midterms.
Well, it goes hand in hand with the border crisis. You know, he wants everybody to come on the border to be able to vote, and he's going to kowtow them. And the Democrats see that as a voting base. It's just sickening. And then of course now he's lost some things up there. You know, his Build Back Better plan is sunk. I think the plan to do away with the filibuster has gone away. Even people in his own, you know, the mansions and the cinemas, they're not going for that. Even people in his own party. So
no, he's a sorry, you know, it's so sad. It's so sad that we've got some yo-yo like that and his equally stupid VP in office trying to run the greatest country on the face of the earth. It's scary stuff.
Well, you've got, you know, that's bad. And then what do we got? We got, did I hear? I think you brought this up. Didn't our BLM folks are at it again? The dimwits.
Oh yeah. They are now. They made some very insensitive comments today and yesterday about police officer deaths, casting doubt on whether fallen officers are heroes or not. Well, that infuriates me. I know it infuriates you, and it ought to infuriate every red-blooded America. Yes, anybody who dons that public safety uniform and goes out and loses their life in the service of a cause greater than them, that causes you, folks. That causes you the safety, health, and welfare of your family. To make fun of that just shows you what a bunch of low-class pukes those BLM people are. And I'm not casting dispersion on black people because I have tons of black friends. Mm-hmm. These are radicals. These are people here who've got an agenda, and you better know that. And you just need to understand that their best interests are not our best interests. There's
so many people that jump on their bandwagon that don't even know this. You know, I would like to find anybody, even my neighborhood, the people down here that support BLM. Do you know what they're saying? I'd like to bring that up to them because they have this trial going on up in Minneapolis. They've started trying these other officers, and it just started. And they got people on the street protesting for BLM. Yet, you know, do you know that what these guys are saying? But now on the other hand, BLM will make George Floyd a hero. They'll build statues for that clown, that piece of crap. Yeah. They want to make all the criminals heroes, and they want to, villainize the police officers.
Well, right now, the Democratic Party's heroine, if you will, is race, the race card. Yeah. And if you have a permanent tan like I do, and my black friends and anybody else, understand that these people that I'm talking about, the Democrats, they are pandering to you. They don't give a rat's ass about you in reality, but they want you to believe that they've got your best interest at heart, and they don't until you're living like Nancy Pelosi in a gated community in San Francisco. Then she don't have your best interest at heart. No to Schumer or the rest of those clowns.
Well, I think that all their, Joe and the Democrats, that, they aligned themselves with BLM. They did that. But I'm going to tell you, we know the pendulum swung back. 2022, they're going to get their butt kicked, and they're going to get a butt kicked real good. And all this BLM stuff, what I'd like to do, I'd like to go find all the CEOs who gave these guys this BLM money and corner them and say, are you guys supporting this crap about fallen officers? Are you on board with this? Because that's who you're supporting. That's who you gave money for. And I would like to paint their picture, whether it be Target, Pepsi, whoever, and call them all out. Even the NFL. Do you support BLM people? Did you give them money? I'd be up there about 2 seconds.
Well, did you notice, speaking of the NFL, did you notice now that they never show the games with the national anthem now? They don't show that because if they were losing their asses when these football players were kneeling. So now you just see the game start. I don't know what's going on before the game.
Well, they do. They used to do it when it benefited the NFL. When they thought it would be a benefit, of course, remember they would pull out the flags and they'd have officers and firemen all pulling it out. Now they've completely done away with that. And you're right. They're not showing. They don't show that.
No, because it's bad. It hit their bottom line hard, and so they don't want us seeing that. So, and I'm okay because I would prefer not to look at that. That's so disrespectful.
Now I have noticed on some of the helmets, they used to have all the sayings. That's all kind of gone away. There's still some players out there with it, but I saw like Mahomes last night. I particularly looked at his helmet. He has nothing back there. He didn't have any kind of thing. I think everybody's about sick of that crap. Yeah. And these assholes who are driving the bus. And again, the BLM people, it's such a screwy, loose organization. It's hard telling who's running it. and, just somebody jumps up and says, I'm with BLM. Of course, the media jumps all over and says, reports it that way.
Well, we got one of them here locally. Just got elected to the Des Moines City Council, Frenchman.
That's right. Is she sworn in?
Yeah. She's trying to build a quorum there. She's no friend of the cop shops. Now she thinks she's got some sort of power platform to stand on. And we're watching her because there are people quite capable of taking her business public and showing everybody what she's really about. So, and I'm one of them. I'm watching her like a hawk. There's
another one running in 2022 for representative. These people are coming out and like I said, we're gonna call those clowns out.
Well, and I've heard this. I'll just throw out a piece of behind the scenes information I'm hearing. I'm hearing this woman that got elected to the Des Moines City Council, for whatever reason, she doesn't like the PIO for Des Moines, Sergeant Paul Priest. He does a great job. Fantastic. Probably without a doubt, the best PIO they've ever had. He's articulate, looks good on camera, speaks well. Paul's a good man. And why would you not want him being the PIO? We don't want you. But I forgot her name.
Well, it's I don't even know. I got a name for her, but that's what I don't know. We all got a name. We got a special name for her. But I'll say this, and we've said this. Her only experience, she has zero experience doing anything, let alone police work. The only experience she has is from the backseat of a squad car in a jail cell. She's a goddamn criminal, is what she is. But
we'll keep an eye on her. We're keeping an eye on her.
Oh, that's right. Hey, what we're going to do, folks, with some of these folks, we're going to go back into some of our theories or some of our sponsorships. Today's show is just pretty loose, and we're trying this out. So we certainly want some input from you if we can get it. But what I want to do now, Dave, I think I'm going to recognize we had some fallen officers. And we lost some. Way too many. COVID has taken a bunch of people. But I pulled up some since we've been on last, and I'm going to read through some of these guys. Today we lost, Raymond Gutierrez. He was an officer with the Harris County Sheriff's Department. He was struck and killed by a drunk driver. He was on a motorcycle, given an escort, and he got off and was directing traffic. Then this lady, she was drunk, drove around and ran him over and killed him. So that just happened today. There was an Anthony Salas, Texas Department of Public Safety. He was killed in an accident near El Paso while he was conducting a joint tactical operations with the United States Border Patrol. So, they're getting busy down there and something went awry, and it didn't go into specifics about him, but we lost him, and his end of watch was the 22nd. We also lost Charles Galloway from the Harris County Sheriff. He was Texas down in Houston there. I think, Dave, you heard about this one. He was shot and killed while conducting a traffic stop down there. And the driver of the vehicle, he had stopped, exited the car and opened fire on him, killing him, and then fled the scene. They're still looking for this guy, this piece of crap. But anyway, our thoughts and prayers go out to him. Johnny Patterson, he was a Lee County School District Police Department. He was with them in Mississippi there. He was a school resource officer. And he succumbed to his injuries January 13th when he was struck by a car while directing traffic in front of a school. Says he was directing school the day. The vehicle struck him as the back of his patrol car and then pushed it into him, and he was transported. So hard telling if that was somebody involved in school. Didn't go in much detail. And then Jason Rivera, he was a New York City police officer. Jason was killed, and he was along with two other officers. They were shot responding to a domestic call in an apartment. When the officers arrived at the apartment, they spoke to the suspect's mother, and Rivera, another officer, went to the rear of the apartment to interview the suspect while a third officer stayed out front. And as they approached him, the guy opened fire on him and killed him and then shot the other two officers. So praying for them. Tyler Lehan, he was with the Elk Grove Police Department in California. He was killed when his police motorcycle was struck head on by a drunk driver. And drunk drivers kill a lot of people. And, officers out there put a lot of time in the streets. And so our thoughts and prayers go to him. Police officer Coral Jones of the Memphis Police Department. He was killed in a vehicle crash at an intersection. He was responding to a call and got hit. Sounds like it's more of an accident than anything, but he succumbed to his injuries. Fernando Arroyo. He was shot and killed as he took action when three men attempted to rob him in the 1700 block there. He was off duty. They tried to carjack him. He was an LA police officer. He had a gun and he returned fire. He opened fire and they got into a gunfight. He had his girlfriend with him and he killed. It's kind of an unusual thing, but that happens. So those are some of the officers that we pray. Of course, we lost a lot of people by Corona. I think that's going to be an ongoing battle. We do. But,
I watch these officer deaths on TV, and it's just heartbreaking to know that their families are devastated forever. Their police families at the police departments are devastated. It just leaves a hole in your heart that never mends.
Yeah, I hate hearing that. Well, on to another deal. I don't think we can cut out our favorite segment. And Dave, I think you know what that is.
And now it's time for
Ass Hats of the Week.
It's time.
Yes, it's true.
He's a real ass. Bob. So, Dave, I don't know. Do you have one this week? Did you?
Yeah, I have. It would be my ass hats of the week.
Okay.
Would be the 12 major U.S. cities controlled by the Democrats who are realizing a monster spike in crime.
Mm-hmm.
What a bunch of jackasses you all have elected or appointed to your respective cities that you allow this type of atrocious public safety problem to erupt under your feet. Anybody who votes for these people in office ought to hang their heads in shame. It makes me sick to my stomach. There's district attorneys who have been elected who are now releasing people, don't want to prosecute crimes that are $1,000 in value or less. Where are your brains, people? And I know the listeners here have brains. That's why they listen to us, Roger. But these morons who are listening, who are electing other morons to office, when this crime lands on your doorstep, in your front yard, you're going to wish to hell you hadn't done what you have done.
Boy, I couldn't agree with you more there. I mean, it's just a nightmare.
Shootings are up across the country, Roger. Homicides are way up. It's just sickening. And the
carjackings.
The Democratic Party has set on their thumb and allowed this to happen, and they need to stop it. I
think there've been a couple carjackings where Democratic politicians have got the carjacked.
I saw that. Yeah,
I kind of laughed about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do something different. Everybody knows. We're very pro law enforcement on this show. A couple ex-cops, and but policemen make mistakes, and some of them are more than mistakes. Some of them are just flat out dumbasses. And I got one, and it's a sergeant. He's a sergeant on the police department at Sunrise, Florida. He responded, and his name is Christopher Pulsey. And he responded to a call that his other officers had stopped, and they had a guy subdued, and he came in and started choking the guy. And a female officer grabbed him by this arm and pulled him back.
I saw that one.
He turned around and grabbed her and choked her. And turned on his own people. And of course, they've suspended him. And I'm just thinking, what kind of asshole, pardon my language, I guess I shouldn't say it, what kind of asshat grabs their own officer by the throat who's trying to help them and pull them off? And
as you know, Roger, having come through the police, application process, try as they might to weed out the non-hackers. I kind of sound like that sergeant in Full Metal Jacket by saying that, but
right.
We are looking for people with integrity and honesty who want to serve. And then sometimes, unfortunately, you get hotheads, get through the system and they become hired. Egomaniacs develop when they're on the police department. There are certain things you cannot do as a law enforcement officer. You cannot be involved in an actual crime, and by that I mean go out and commit a crime, with intention. And you also cannot piss pound your wife, girlfriend, daughter. You can't do that. If you do, you're going to get fired.
He grabs this junior officer by her throat, female officer, and it's on body cam, and it's you saw it. It's on the news. I mean, he's so done. He's more than done. When there's millions of police officers out there, hundreds of thousands, and everybody knows this. Anybody who's hired people or had people, it's impossible to make sure you're 100%. There's going to be somebody in there.
Nobody bats 100%. Nobody, no profession.
But what we don't do, unlike the BLM, is turn around and say, "Oh, all those officers do that. They all do that." No, they don't.
No. Well, and we've said this before, Roger. The statistics prove this, and they'll show you less than 0.5% of this country's almost 1 million police officers, less than 0.5% run afoul of the law each and every year. I'll play them odds any day. You know, that's good stuff there.
It just I saw that and it made my blood boil. And like I said, I think they're going through the process. They'll give him due process, but that video speaks for
itself.
itself.
If you get jammed up as a cop, and I've represented a lot of police officers over the course of my 34-year career, you better eat humble pie, admit to your mistakes. You come off cocky, arrogant, or condescending to your gold braid staff, your command staff, your superiors, then they're going to come down even harder on you. Everybody makes mistakes, and sometimes you can survive them. I hope this Iowa State trooper who was arrested over the weekend for drunk driving, I hope he survives. He looks like a pretty good guy, but he got in a wreck. And I know the State Patrol, man, they don't like this. I mean, it embarrasses, it tarnishes the image of the Iowa State Patrol. All police officers get a black eye because of it. I hope he can salvage his career, learn from his mistakes, get on down the road. But that's not.
Well, police. One thing everybody has to understand: policemen are human.
That's
okay?
right.
They have the same trials and tribulations. They have the same family problems, same issues as everybody else. You know, they get in domestics. Some of them, alcoholism is considered a sickness. It's not.
Yep.
You know, they don't. It's an illness, and sometimes it gets the best of people. And I'm sure that they're going to offer him something to do that. But
I hope he survives. He looks like a pretty good guy, and I know that his work record, based on what I've heard, is stellar. So, like you said, everybody makes mistakes. I think I hope he's okay. I hope the State Patrol sees it in their heart to get him into counseling and get him straightened out and let him move on with his career.
Now, on a fun note, or not, I don't know, fun, a kind of entertaining story. I read this in Moore, Oklahoma. What they're doing down there, they've got the SROs down there in the schools, and the COVID's hit the school district, and it's taking teachers out, and they have elected to have their SRO officers who are dedicated to that school step in as substitute teachers, and they're teaching the kids, and it's going. I love it. And they love it. The kids love it. Now they've got a couple naysayers. You know, the people are, you don't need a man with a gun on his hip teaching our kids in class. And you can just imagine it's probably the same BLM people, but they're down there and it's doing great. The officers are doing good. The kids are responding. And now I don't think they would want me teaching anybody. I'd have to teach like Jim. If I was an SRO. I'd be teaching volleyball or something. But these guys, they're going in, they're teaching all kinds of classes. So,
I'm all for it because I taught police minority relations at the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy for about 4 years, and they would send an instructor evaluation to the chief's office, and I was just I couldn't believe how well received I was to the recruits that I would talk to about police minority relations. But in retrospect, I now understand that I put it in real life situations. As a person of color, I could speak to the subject matter from firsthand knowledge and also on the job experiences. And that's how young cops in their formative, recruit academy days, that's how they learn this stuff. And so I've been there. I've taught, and it's a lot of fun. And I was very happy to see those evaluations.
I curriculum where you would have an officer teach a class, and you could call it police and community relations, and let the kids choose to make an elective that they could either choose to take that class or not. And I bet it would be immensely popular. Yeah. And have them come in and offer it once a week to, where the kids can come in and talk to them, ask them questions. They can have guests come in. They can talk about law enforcement experiences and talk about real time issues. I think it's a great idea. I firmly believe this, and I think a lot of people share my thoughts. I don't believe that a college degree is necessary to be a good teacher. I think if you know your subject matter, and I think if your heart's in it for the right reasons, I think anybody can be a great teacher. Would a licensed plumber need a bachelor's degree to go talk to a bunch of vocational students about plumbing? Hell no. Same goes for auto mechanics and the list goes on and on.
people who know their trade, let them in there and teach these kids.
I think it's some of the trade people today are making more money than people.
Oh yeah,
the kids that have to go to school, they're going to college and they're racking up, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, and then they got to start at the bottom at someplace like Principal, where you got some kid who goes to the trade school once and he's out there making $40 an hour as a plumber or something.
Yeah, my sons all have college.
I just think that's a great scenario.
My sons they all have college. So is my daughter. My daughter is a senior public safety dispatcher for Des Moines PD, and all three of my sons, well, two of them are in the trades. The other went on to do some stuff in zoning and permits, but all three of my sons, they're graduates, tinners. They do HVAC. They bend and break the sheet metal and install it. My oldest son, he designs it. He's a CADS operator. They make great money, but they got their college, but that college they took isn't making the big bucks for them.
Well,
vocational training.
I just don't think, today, in today's work climate, you can go out and drive a truck and make $70,000 a year.
Easy.
Easy.
And we need them. We need truck drivers.
Kind of upset. With that being said, it upsets me. I was driving today, and of course, here I am in a corner. Here's a guy out. Can you give me money? I just want to roll down, and he's standing by like 4 restaurants that all have help wanted signs. I just want to roll down my window and say, buddy, go over there and and get a job. Go wash dishes. Go do something and earn money. I think it's just too easy for him to go out to sit there and beg. And I just don't have any sympathy for these people who won't work.
You and I worked with them.
In this weather, it's harder to stand on a corner. It's harder to stand on a corner and beg for money and freezing cold. I'd much rather work at it.
Yeah, we're right now, at no time in America's history other than now can I think of a time period when getting a job would be super, super easy because everybody's clamoring for help.
Oh, that's exactly right. So it certainly is. I want to remind our listeners that, that they can all get a hold of us and see us on Facebook and send us a message. Let us know you like us. Tell us what's going on. We will be having some guests coming up in the near future. We didn't today, but we're taking it a step at a time. And I think this will.
This is our first time doing this from our homes via computer. So I think it's working pretty good so far. I mean, there's some glitches, but we'll get through it.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is they'll be able to see us because we're going to be putting this video on. So now you'll be able to see Dave's pretty face up there. Dave, I want to talk about that Minneapolis thing a little bit. Have you followed that up there? They're charging these guys, these 2 officers that were with Chauvin up there, and they're the defense is saying, look, our guys didn't do anything wrong, and they didn't cause his death, and Chauvin was controlling the scene at the time, and of course, I think they're going to have trouble getting these guys saying these other guys violated his rights. What's your spin on that?
I agree. I don't know how long the other officers have been on patrol or how much experience they have, but I can tell you that when that dumbass had his knee on that guy's neck, I can tell you this, a young, impressionable rookie officer would have stood by as ordered to protect the officer and the suspect. So there's no intent on their behalf to do anything ill intention there. So I think they're probably going to get spanked.
No, the one guy was holding the crowd back. Yeah. He's holding the crowd back. They do have Chauvin. He can be seen and heard calling the shots, telling them what to do, how to run things. It's not like they were doing something. They were, doing kind of holding the perimeter and doing things and helping out. I don't know how that's going to work out.
Anytime you're charged with a crime, it is incumbent upon the police officers charging you to prove intent, that you intended to commit that crime. And they didn't intend for this guy to die. They got their backs to the situation. So I think it'll be an uphill battle for people to successfully prosecute them.
Well, they've got 18 people, they said, swiftly sworn in up there to deliberate. I don't know. That whole scenario up there scares me to death. In the climate, I still think they have an anti-cop climate up there.
Well, they do. They do have an anti-cop city council. Have you ever looked at the jokers that form that city council up there?
It's like a circus.
It's
like the freak show. Come on in, $5. Look at this.
Yeah, good. And they're not tracking right. These people, they don't have their train of thought is not pro law enforcement. Period. They don't like cops, and I don't know if they like themselves.
I'll tell you who likes cops, and this is kind of cool. And I'm looking right here. I'm trying to look it up. I believe it's in Florida. Hang on. Oh, here. I'm sorry. There's a city, and they have, here it is, in Arizona. they are enacting a law right now that if you're going to film police officers with your phone, you have to stay 15 feet back, 15 feet away. And they're trying to pass this bill out there that prevents, these people from getting cameras in your face and interfering, because they said the law enforcement is worried that the citizens are getting too close to cops and they're starting to interfere with their job. So they're going to enact this law, and I don't know what the penalty will be, but they're trying to pass it. And of course, you have some people say it's infringing on their amendment or their first right to do that. But staying 15 feet back, and I think it's a hell of a law, and I think we ought to pass it nationwide. Because
what they need to do too for kids in schools, whenever they're old enough to have their own cell phone, up to being seniors, cell phone companies need to shut their service off during the school day, and then they can have it after school and on weekends and during the summer. But those cell phones, they cause a lot of problems in public schools and private. Cell phone companies need to turn juvenile cell phones off, except for the ability to dial 911 and call home. Yeah.
Well, I just think that phones are a challenge for everybody. And, but again, when you're doing your job, when you're fighting some guy in the street, the last thing you need is somebody sitting there.
Well, then
refusing to back up, getting in your way. And then, of course, if you arrest them, they claim,
left-wing mainstream media, then they carve that video up and they modify it to suit their purpose. Not
who was that register writer or photographer? She got arrested down this summer, and she got off, and she shouldn't have. She was there pulling the same crap where they're gonna film them and do stuff like that. So I don't know. So
I think the tide's shifting. Things are turning. I think people, every night they get home from work and they turn on the TV and they see it's nothing but bad news. I just saw a deal tonight on TV. 60% of all Americans, if the presidential election were held today, would not vote for Joe Biden. That's a monster problem for that yo-yo. And I actually kind of sort of feel sorry for him, Roger. Yeah. He don't know whether he's on foot or horseback.
I just don't know we've got. 3 more years of him. He's gas prices are going up. I saw that still. They're going up. The border's not secure. This train, and all the fights that he's picking are things that don't matter and don't really affect us. And
he's
things
just
that are affect us. Not doing.
He walks like a little old man. He teeters and totters. He loses his train of thought. He called one of the Fox reporters a stupid son of a bitch today. Did you see that?
No, I missed it.
His mic was hot. Biden's mic was hot. He turns to one of his lackeys or sycophants and said, "That's a stupid son of a bitch." And I thought, well, you're about the pot calling the kettle black.
Well, yeah, he said somebody else the other day. He says, "Yeah, that was a stupid question." He's got problems, but this deal with Ukraine. I'll say this: we went through this back in the day, way back, and a lot of people remember. Some people don't. With the Cuban crisis, where Russia wanted to put missiles down in Cuba, and we almost went to war over that to get them away. Yet Russia's saying, "Look, this will all go away. I'll just promise us that you're not going to put things in Ukraine against us." And the Biden administration said that's a non-talking point. Well, I'm American, don't get me wrong, but, I can kind of see their point. We're trying to turn a nation that used to be Russia to begin with and turn them into a NATO nation that can now all of a sudden put offensive weapons in there. I don't think this is worth a fight. I think, this is a Donald Trump thing that I bet he could negotiate.
When a guy like Putin, who's former KGB, he's a dictator, he's a communist, but when he looks at a guy like Joe Biden, he sees weakness. He sees an old sissy, and that's the kind of image we do not want representing us on the world stage.
Yeah, I find that out. So anyway, we never got into it. Sports this weekend, we had a great. Last night we got to hit our cop talk, sports talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers. It just went on and on. But that game last night, 27 points in 2 minutes.
Oh, that was some of the most exciting football I've ever watched. That Mahomes threading that needle to Kelsey and getting that game won in the last 13 seconds for the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's my predictions, Roger. The Rams will beat the 49ers. The Chiefs will thump the Bengals, and the Super Bowl will be between the Rams and the Chiefs. That's my prediction.
Yeah. I think so. I just seen so many good quarterbacks. So I've seen more good football out of the NFL this last deal. Now, the funny thing that we missed, what about the guy that took off all his clothes in New York that played for the Buccaneers? He got undressed and, he's like, did you ever see the movie Slapshot where the guy takes his clothes off and starts skating? It was the same kind of thing. I
love that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff.
That receiver, I don't know who he was. He was in the Meadowlands and he just started taking his stuff.
Well, remember when you and I were in high school in the 70s, early, mid 70s, streaking and mooning was big. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. My butt with it out there a couple times. It's out the window.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Not quite the same. It wouldn't look the same now, but
yeah. Well, guys in the early 60s aren't supposed to hang their ass out a car window anymore, Roger.
Well, this guy, it was funny. They made a big deal out. They had him on film, and the coach is like, the players are trying to talk to him, and he's taking his clothes off, and I think he just took his shirt and stuff off, and then ran out and just left the team.
Yep, those are little nuggets.
Then had a issue up part. I think probably had some kind of mental issue going.
Yeah.
Now, did you do anything for New Year's? What did you do for New Year's?
Just stayed home this year, and I'm 64, man. I'm past that drinking stage.
Right.
My wife and I we have 11 grandkids. They keep us busy. We enjoy having them over here and having some fun with them. And hell, I went to bed before the stroke of midnight. I'm past that party stage. I still like to have a good time, though. I like going out with you, Roger, because you're a lot of fun to be with. Because you still like tipping a few. I'll have a few with Roger.
I do once in a while.
The other buddies I'll have a beer or two with. I'm out for the comedy now.
I did something sophisticated. I went to the symphony, which was songs
for you, Roger.
Yeah, but it was songs of Elton John. So they had a band. They had a guy singing, and of course they did some songs for Chicago. It was really kind of cool. So you have this band playing, then you have the orchestra behind it and the light show. And I would highly recommend it to anybody. You might hate the symphony, but you'd love this. And they're going to do another one of songs of Billy Joel. They're going to bring that back. And they have the big piano, and the guy plays and he sings, and then the horn section. And when they did the Chicago songs, man, talk about it was powerful. It was really good. So I had a good time down there and went to dinner.
I know you noticed this. A lot of the commercials today in 2021, 2022, they still play 70s music. You ever notice that? I love it. Yeah. That's how what an impact our era had music wise.
Well, it's still going. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to try to get some people up on the show. I want to let our guys know. This year, I want to get some more law enforcement. We've had some chiefs on the show. We've had Westmoreland.
We're going to get some street cops on.
We get some street cops, some fun guys. We're
also going to get our partner Tom Turner in here. He was an HR director for the city of Des Moines for numerous years, and he can talk about all the behind the scenes stuff that goes on at City Hall that you're not privy to. That some of it make your blood boil. So he's got more degrees than a carpenter square. He's a smart guy, HR director. We're going to have him on here soon, and we're going to ask him a boatload.
And of course, it's 2022, and this is an election year, and we're going to try to get some of those folks in on and visit them and find out their positions. And I think we're going to get the Polk County, the guy running, get her back in here.
Yep.
Talk about the Polk County Attorney's Office. Of course, we got Nicole Hasso. We love her, and get her in. And
I'm digging Governor Reynolds' tax plan too, Frenchman. That's good stuff. 4%.
She's going to do some things. That's a goal of mine. My goal is to get her on here. To get on. I think under this format we're doing, it would be easy to get her to come on.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know her. I know Kim. We can't cuss though. I mean, she's a governor. We got to keep that prim and proper statute for her.
Bob will have his hands full with editing, but get her on because aside from the tax, she's pro law enforcement. She's enacted some laws that are pro law enforcement, pro common sense, really.
Well, years ago when she was lieutenant governor with Terry Branstad, and he was running against Chet Culver. You talk about politics, make strange bedfellows. Des Moines police officers endorsed Terry Branstad, Kim Reynolds, and the NRA endorsed Chet Culver. Now you talk about opposites. Oh my gosh. I know her, and I know Terry Branstad real well.
Yeah, we'll get them on and get some people. I want to get Kelly Wills back on. I love having Kelly on. He always gives great perspectives of some powerful things that are.
Who we're going to get on too, Roger? I'm going to get him on here soon. That's retired Assistant Police Chief Kane Robinson, former president of the National Rifle Association, used to fly around with Ted Nugent and all sorts of other dignitaries. And so he's a lot of fun, a lot of good stories, smart guy.
Well, the COVID thing's jostled us around. It's got everybody jostled around, but I think we got a good thing going, and I think this will come around. Dave, I think this has been a good try. We're going to be a little short today on time, but I want to give this. I want to review it. Folks, if you listen to us, if you like it, listen next week. I'll be posting it today, which is Monday. Today's Monday. I'll be putting it on, and we'll just get up and go from there.
Yeah. Well, Roger, as always, brother, it's good talking to you. Look forward to chatting with you next week.
I'll talk to you soon, buddy. See you next week.
Bye-bye. See you. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Cop Talk USA with your hosts, Murillo and French.